How long do you think this will last before it falls on my face? Hi guys, welcome to my channel and my awkward laying in bed pose. I keep telling myself I'm going to be professional and film intros like a human, but instead I keep filming them after I just got out of the shower or while I'm laying in bed. I had all the great intentions in the world to put up lots of Halloween videos, but as per usual, I didn't have time. So this is going to be my only contribution to Halloween this year. I'm going to make an advent calendar and I'm going to have to film it in parts because I am not going to get it done otherwise. So hopefully I get it done before Halloween and all of the parts are posted before Halloween comes, but we shall see what will happen. You know, I'm not reliable. So anyhow, this is part one. This is me assembling the structure and then decorating one side, which I hope means the next videos will go much quicker because I'm not putting anything together. I'm just decorating. So I hope you enjoy this. Comment below, let me know what you think. Yell at me for doing a video in parts if you have to, or for not putting up Halloween content. So you know I did buy a bunch of Halloween craft items. I just never got to do them. So hopefully next year there'll be all kinds of Halloween videos coming out. I'll have to start much, much earlier. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go to sleep after this. Well, I'm going to edit this intro into the video and then I'm going to go to sleep. So without further dudes, let's go waste some talent.
For the base, I'm going to be using 12 of these boxes that I got at Dollar Tree. And I thought to myself, this will be really easy. I can just glue them all together and then it's done. I forgot that when you're dealing with Dollar Tree products, nothing is the same size. So I'm gluing them so that one side is even and not really worrying so much that the other side is off. And then I'm just making little X's to indicate which boxes are going to be facing outward so that when I glue it all together into a giant cube, I know which way everything needs to be facing. And I'm just using wood glue for all of this. And I'll put weight on it in between to hold things together while the glue's drying. For my base, I'm using this thick chipboard, and I'm going to put this as the base as well as a top cover. And as you can see here, things were not level or even, so I just keep putting pieces of different thicknesses of cardboard in between as I'm gluing things together to kind of shim them up and make them a little bit more square. And here and there, I'll add some tape to hold things in place while it's drying as well. And so as not to bore you to death, I'm skipping ahead to where it's all glued together. And then I'm just showing you to get rid of the excess. I'm just going to use a box cutter and some scissors to trim that all back. Now, because the boxes are all different sizes, I realized I would need to remember where each one goes because you can't switch these drawers. They only fit in the box that they came in. So I'm just going to go ahead and number each one so that as I'm decorating and painting, I'm going to remember where each one goes. And then when that's all done, I will go ahead and sand everything down so that it's even. And I'm filling in the gaps with some wood filler. And you can see here, this side looks pretty good. But if you flip it over, this side is really crooked. But what can I do? Once I start decorating it, you won't really notice. And then I'm just going to go over the wood filler with a couple different grits of sandpaper to get a little bit of a smoother finish. Once that's all done, I'm going to just go over everything with a black base coat. Normally I would use a cheaper acrylic paint, but I'm hoping in the future I can sell this, so I thought I should go with the nicer quality paint versus just like Apple Barrel. So that's what it looks like, all black. So first I want to get a base coat down, so I'm using some Crackle Medium. Once that dries, you take your paint and go over the top, and you want to go in like one thin coat. You don't want to do too many brush strokes on it, and that will help it to crack better. If you put too thick of paint on top, it won't really crack. So after I did that, I started to decorate. What I'm holding here is a pair of wings from a little fairy doll toy that I got at the Dollar Tree. I also have a brooch, is that how you say that? Brooch down there that looks like a bug. That was some old broken jewelry. This snake was just from a pack of plastic toy snakes. And then this is some ephemera. I think most of this is Tim Holtz, and I'm just using some inks to age them up a bit. And then I'll start collaging everything onto the box. So I didn't show you this earlier, but I did do this one side with green, because this side is going to be the nature side. It's going to have the creepy crawlies on it, or the creepy cuties, because I think they're all pretty cute. So I did a back base coat of green instead of brown. And these rub-ons are from Amazon, and they were pretty cheap. I got them because I never use rub-ons and I wanted to try them, and I wanted to have a variety of colors without committing to the high price tag that like Rub and Buff would have. The problem with them though is they're not permanent, so you do have to clear coat over the top or it will rub right off. And then I'm going to use a series of metallic paints, most of which are folk art. Some of them are Arteza. And I'm just going to paint my little creatures with some metallic paints to make them pop and be shiny and pretty. And I'm using gold as my accent color, like antique gold. Now these butterfly wings were from a princess doll toy, so they don't have, it's just the wings. There's no body of the butterfly in the middle, so I will make a body for the center later. And I'm just painting some gold accents onto the snake. And I'm doing the gold down his back or his spine. And I'll use those archival inks to age up the paint on the box as well. Now I want this snake to fit on that square, so I'm heating it up so that I can bend it into the shape that I want. And then theoretically when it cools, it will stay in that shape. And it does kind of work, but it's not perfect, so gluing it down will also help with that as well. And I'm using E6000 for this, but it wouldn't stay in place with just the E6000, so I did end up going back and peeling it off. As you can see here, there's glue everywhere, so that I can add some hot glue as well mixed with the E6000. And you just want to make sure your hot glue doesn't touch the E6000 too much, because it'll make the hot glue immediately just turn into solid goop. So you kind of want to put the hot glue in between. This little frame that I just put down, I got a long time ago at Michael's. And the ephemera inside it is like the Latin name for some sort of a flower, but I wanted something that fit in there, so I used it. Even though it's not to do with snakes or bugs, I think it still looks cute. The black flower, the larger one I put under the snake's head, was a broken piece of jewelry that I just painted black. And the little black roses are from a pack of beads from the Dollar Tree that were pastel colors, and I just painted them black. And this wax seal I actually found on the beach. I think it maybe came off of an invitation envelope or something, but it was just laying in the dirt, so I picked it up and I put some black paint on it to kind of age it a bit. And I'm just heating it up so that it lays flat, because it was a little bent out of shape. So because it's wax, once I heat it up, it will flatten out. Now I'm just making lines on the drawer front so that I can get the exact center, because I want my drawer pull to be in the center. And this is just a little hand drill I got a long time ago on Amazon. These little rounds are also from Amazon. It was a pack of multiple sizes, and I'm just going to use that as sort of like a washer to keep the screw in place. So now, obviously these screws are way too long, so I'm just kind of eyeballing where I need to cut it, and I'm marking that with a silver Sharpie so that I can see it. And this is a jeweler's saw with a pin vise, which is what you use with a jeweler's saw, and I'm using that to cut the screw down to the appropriate size. And I just ended up snapping it at that point because my jeweler's saw is very cheap from Amazon. It actually doesn't work very well, so I got sick of sawing and tried to snap it in half, and it worked, so that was great. Now off camera, I forgot to show, but I did attach that spider web pattern. That's actually the backing from some Tim Holtz ephemera. It's the back of the package that I kept. And then I'm using rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree to add these little bugs to it. This is another Tim Holtz ephemera with the number 12 on it. I don't know why I started with the side first, which is 11 and 12. There will be 13 little drawers for 13 days of Halloween. And I started on this side because I wanted to do the bugs first, so that's where I started. And I'm just using Mod Podge to stick down the paper ephemera pieces. And this is some more of that packaging I talked about. I'm using that for the back of the drawer because that has the original handle, which is just a little heart cut into the box. And once that's glued in place, I'm going to fill the heart with hot glue, and then I'm pouring some sand that I got at Dollar Tree into that glue so that I can fill in the heart. No one will probably really ever see this unless they pull the drawer out and look at the back of it, but I wanted it to look nice anyway. For these little confetti pieces, I thought that it would kind of mimic snakeskin. I'm using a piece of metallic cardstock that's made by Cricut. It came with my Cricut because I got a Cricut with a bundle that came with a bunch of samples of different cardstock, so this was one of them. And I just used a regular standard size hole punch to cut them all out. And then as I go along, you'll see me, go back and forth between the rub-ons and the inks and watered down paints to just keep adding aging and interest to everything. And this is the body of the butterfly, but I was off camera for a lot of making it, but it's made from black epoxy sculpt, and I'm just sticking some wires in it for the little antenna. And then I'm going to paint those black. And I forgot to base coat this box, so I just had to work around the scales. This is just to show you that I put some dragon skin paint on there, which is just glitter by Folk Art. And yeah. I love these sticker books. I got them later when they were a little bit older, so rather than paying the full $25 price tag for them, I paid half price and got them for $12 each. And this is the first time I actually was using the sticker from one of those books, so that was pretty exciting. Now these little number beads are from Dollar Tree, and I am sticking them on a toothpick, and I'm painting in between so you can't notice the toothpick. And between that, I hung a little broken bit of jewelry, which is a little gold butterfly charm on a little piece of gold chain. And then I'll just trim off the excess and paint the ends so that they blend in with the black beads. And I'll use my E6000 to stick that down. So that's my number 11 for this box. And this is another one of those rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. And then I wasn't worried about being even with the box for this reason. So when I put everything where I wanted it, so I could trim off the edges and then sand it down. And now I'm using a black wash and a brown wash to age up the box as well. And I'm doing that same method as before with putting sand in the back. I added some gold paint dots this time to this one. I actually do go back and add it to the heart as well, just to make it look a little prettier. And then I'm using that brown wash on the sand once it's dry to kind of age that as well. And then I seal that in with Mod Podge to make sure sand doesn't fall all over everywhere. And now I'm just going to add some bling here and there. And these jewels are very bright, and everything else is aged, so I do go over the jewels with some inks and some brown washes and stuff to make those look old as well. Obviously not the black ones, just the blue ones need to be aged. The black ones are just black. And then you could see the white paper edge where I punched out those scales. So I'm just going over those with some black paint. It's actually called Fancy Black. It sort of has like a gold sheen to it. So it's a metallic, but it's a black metallic. It's very pretty. That's Arteza. And the black and brown washes I use are the recipe that Black Magic Craft uses. So if you ever want a recipe for a wash that's not oil based, watch one of his videos or watch his video about it. And then I was just letting you know that I added these jewels to the other part of the box as well. And this is me using some of that Fancy Black again, and I'm kind of putting it in the cracks. So it's aging it, but also adding some shimmer because it is a metallic. And I just go back and forth with paints and inks and rubs and all kinds of things just to age it all up until I'm happy with how it looks. See here, I'm adding more gold to everything, kind of make it a little more sparkly. Even though this wax seal was gold to begin with, I felt like I aged it too much, so I'm just adding a little bit of the gold back into it. Oh, and that little butterfly cabochon was actually part of a set of buttons I got from Walmart. I don't know why, because it's not a button, but it was in the pack. And that's basically it. After that is all done, I will go ahead and cover everything in Mod Podge to make sure that that rub doesn't come off and that nothing falls off and it's well protected. But I don't like to have brush strokes, so once I put the Mod Podge down, I do go over it with a sponge so it doesn't have any brush strokes showing. And I did do the insides of the drawers too, I just didn't show it. My camera's having trouble focusing, so part 2, I'll be a little bit more careful about my filming. Hello, Mr. Bug. So I hope this was interesting for you guys. I hope you're looking forward to the other parts. I'm looking forward to making them. This looks so simple when you watch it all edited together, but it took so many hours. Anyways, happy Halloween. Stay safe. Go find an excuse to waste some talent. And I'll see you very, very soon with part 2. Thanks for watching. Be excellent to each other.